Hi, it's the last day of 2024. So it's time to look back on my reading year. And I like doing this to see what I've been up to. And this year I have read 173 books, which is 4 more than I did last year. Will I go 4 more again next year, or will I drop down again? It all depends what sort of year you have, doesn't it? But yeah, 173. And what does that work out at? It works out at, let me just scroll down. It works out at 53,986 pages. It's good, isn't it? What surprised me was my average rating was 4.42, which is less than last year's. Last year's was 4.46. And what also surprised me is that when I was looking back through my stats, I've only had five stars. I've rounded books up to 5 stars. If you look at my Goodreads thing, some have been rounded up to 5 stars, but I've only actually had 5 stars, 5 books that have made me go, which is less than last year. I can't remember what last year's was. So let me just have a look and see what last year's was. Just bear with me a second and I'll just flick back to last year to see how many 5 stars I had last year. Last year I had 16 5 stars. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Is it that books haven't blown me away so much, or excuse me, I don't know, but it's from 16 to 5. I don't know, there's only 5 books that blew me away, so I've only got sort of a top 5 this year. My biggest disappointment though was, let me just get to the right page. Oh, 1 second. Oh, do you know, I did this, now I've lost it. Here we are. I got all these notes ready, now I've lost them. My biggest disappointment was one that was longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction. That was my big disappointment this year. And to say that it was longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction, but I'm just so disappointed with it. And it was The Big Beautiful World by Karen Lloyd. And I really struggled with that. Partly, I think, because sci-fi is not my genre of choice. And I never really got a handle of what was going on. There was no connection with the characters. The world building lost me totally. And I think a lot of it was that it was the 3rd book in a series, which was a very strange choice for the prize for fiction. You know, it was almost expecting people to have read the first 2 books. And the 3rd book, reading the 3rd book, it assumed the reader had some knowledge of what was going on. I was left totally confused by that one, and that was my big disappointment of this year. And to say that it came off the Women's Prize for Fiction was just amazing. So my top 5, my 5 stars, I've just scrolled down too far now. The 5th place was Choose Love by Nicola Davis. Now, this was shortlisted for the Yoto Carnegie Prize, and it was a beautiful book with poetry and illustrations that really, really get to your heart. There are only 12 poems in this book. It's a very, very short book. There are 12 poems in 3 sections, and it's about refugees and the heartbreak that goes on. The first section is departure, the decision to leave, to try and find a safe haven. And one of the most poignant poems in that section was called 5 Minutes. You've got 5 minutes, what will you choose from all that you are about to lose? it sort of encapsulates, people that are having to flee their homes. What is the important thing to take with them? I wouldn't know, would you? The second section is under the heading Arrival, and it focuses on the reaction of the refugees and the reaction to the refugees. Those who say, why is he here? And the questions the refugees themselves ask, waiting with no country, no place to go, no job to do, while someone decides if what you've suffered is enough. And then the final section is healing. And I've scrolled through again. I've pressed the wrong button. Bear with me. I keep doing this. Healing. There's hope that life will get better. And the illustrations are gorgeous. Very abstract illustrations that just seem to encapsulate everything. That was my number 5, my 5th book. The number 4 was also from the Yoto Carnegie list. And it was The Song Walker by Zillah Bethel. And I thought it was an absolutely beautiful book. It was full of the Australian outback, full of friendship and full of ancient beliefs. A young girl finds herself in the wilderness wearing a black dress not suited to the environment. She's got one shoe and she's carrying a silver case. And that's all she knows. She doesn't know why she's there, how she got there, what happened to her other shoe. And she can't even remember her name. But when she collapses, she's found by a young First Nation Australian girl. And they cross the outback. And it is a beautiful story. These two 13-year-olds set out on a journey following the dreaming tracks that are passed down through generations. And the ending, I didn't expect the ending, but the ending's perfect. I didn't expect it to end the way it did. And the writing is gorgeous, with its Brumbly horses and its iridescent snakes and the songs and the links to the indigenous cultures. That was my number 4. And it's about sort of two very different girls, and they found that each has the power to help each other. Number 3 was John Boyne. I love John Boyne's books. And this is the 3rd in his Elements series. And it was published in November. And we've looked at water and earth, and this is fire. Air comes out next year. And this is so dark. Absolutely dark. And there's a warning for child sexual abuse in here. And there are sort of tenuous links between all the books. So I'm interested to see where the 4th comes in. But Freya, our main character in this one, she had a sort of a bit part in Earth, and she's a renowned burns specialist, and she thinks how she wants to help people whose physical appearance has been damaged by burns, the people we turn away from. And she seems to be a woman who's totally in control of her life, but she's got a very, very dark side, and she is seeking revenge for something that happened to her. And she's both a victim and a perpetrator. There's layers. Is it nature? Is it nurture? You feel that she wasn't born evil, but circumstances forced her to. But then she's doing so much good in the burns unit. That was an excellent book. Very, very dark, but excellent. Number 2 was Playground by Richard Powers, which was longlisted for the Bookers this year and was my favourite of the whole list. I was amazed that it didn't make the shortlist and amazed that it didn't win, because for me, this was the book. And there was a twist in it. I've still not got round to reading it again. I will have to. But the twist made me question everything about the book. It's a novel that's told through different characters, different times, a love song to the oceans, a discussion about the role of AI and big tech in our futures. You've got 4 characters: Evie, who fell in love with diving when she was a child. You've got Raffi and Todd, who bond over a love of games. And then you have got Ina, who's a young woman of Polynesian heritage. And you've got these four people who told stories. And the imagery when Evie is in the water, in the oceans, is absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. And I adored it. I absolutely adored that book. And I was amazed that it didn't go further in the bookers. So what was my book of 2024? And, you know, out of all those 5, for me, it was Elif Shafak's There Are Rivers in the Sky. I'm amazed I haven't seen this on any prize lists. It was published in August. And again, beautiful writing and images that stay with you. A single drop of rain that quivers, terrified about the fall it's going to make. But it's breathtaking. It's a novel about water, how it connects us all, and how water has a memory and is vital to our existence. And you start off in Mesopotamia, where the water is hanging over the king there, and he's got a lapis lazuli tablet in which is it described a line of poetry. And then you've got other timelines. You've got Arthur, who's born on the bank of the Thames in the Victorian era. You've got Narin, a 9-year-old Yazidi girl who lives by the River Tigris in 2024. You've got Zalika, who's a hydrologist, in 2018. And you've got water connecting all 3, and you've also got the Epic of Gilgamesh connecting everything as well. It sounds like there's going to be so much going on, and you're wondering how am I going to navigate all of this? But it just flows like water. It just flows seamlessly. And I found it breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking. And that is my book of the year. A really, really special read. And I love the way this raindrop keeps reappearing and the threads of all that link all the timelines. And that was my 2024 book of the year. And so that's my reading year. 173 books, 5 stars. So I'm looking forward to 2025. And I wish everybody that follows, all of you who follow me, have a wonderful, wonderful new year. And I hope it's full of 5-star books. I hope you meet lots of lovely new authors and have a fantastic reading year as well. So let's see what 2025 brings. Happy reading. Happy New Year. Take care.